Hello all, welcome again. If you did not subscribe to our channel, please kindly subscribe to our channel by clicking subscribe button at the right corner. So, in our series of VXWorks for beginners, this is a session on intertask synchronization as in the list. This is the second after we finished Tornado IDE and task. This is task intertask synchronizations. In this, we'll be discussing about semaphores, semaphore control, binary semaphores, and counting semaphores, and mutual exclusion, and how to go about it, and some of the techniques for mutual exclusion semaphores, and to work with priority inversion, priority inheritance, some problems. So, without wasting time, we straight away get into the stuff. So, one of the major intertask uh, synchronization is semaphores. VXWorks semaphores are highly optimized and provide the fastest intertask synchronization mechanism in VXWorks. Semaphores are the primary means for addressing the requirement of both mutual exclusion and task synchronization. For mutual exclusion, semaphore interlock access to shared resources. They provide mutual exclusion with finer granularity than either interrupt disabling or preemptive locks. For synchronization, semaphores coordinate a task's execution with external events. There are three types of wind semaphores optimized to address different classes of problems. One is binary, and next is mutual exclusion and counting. Binary, the fastest, most general purpose semaphore optimized for synchronization or mutual exclusion. And mutual exclusion, a special binary semaphores optimized for problems inherited in mutual exclusion, priority, inheritance, deletion safety, and recursion. And finally, the counting semaphore, like the binary semaphore, both keeps track of number of times a semaphore is given, optimized for guarding multiple instances of a resource. VXWorks provides not only the wind semaphores designed expressly for VXWorks, but also POSIX semaphores designed for portability. The semaphore described here are for the use of a single CPU. The optional product VXMP provides semaphores that can be used across processors if you have more than one processor. Okay, so let's straight away get into the semaphore control. Instead of defining a full set of semaphore control routines for each type of semaphore, the wind semaphore provides a single uniform interface for semaphore control. Only the creation routines are specific to the semaphore type. So table lists the semaphore control routines. The SEM-B create, SEM-M create, and SEM-C create routines return a semaphore ID that serves as a handle on the semaphore during subsequent use by the other semaphore control routines. When a semaphore is created, the queue type is specified. Task pending on a semaphore can be queued in priority order, something like SEM underscore Q underscore priority, which we discussed in our previous this thing, or in the first in first out, that is FIFO order, SEM underscore Q underscore FIFO. We should note something. SEM delete call terminates a semaphore and deallocates any associated memory. Take care when deleting semaphores, particularly those used for mutual exclusion, to avoid deleting a semaphore that another task still requires. Do not delete a semaphore unless the same task first succeeds in taking it. So now we will see about binary semaphores. The general purpose binary semaphore is capable of addressing the requirements of both forms of task coordination, mutual exclusion, and synchronization. The binary semaphore has the least overhead associated with it, making it particularly applicable to high performance requirements. The mutual exclusion semaphore described in mutual exclusion semaphores is also a binary semaphore, but it has been optimized to address problems inherit to mutual exclusion. Alternatively, the binary semaphore can be used for mutual exclusion if the advanced features of the mutual exclusion semaphore are defined unnecessary. A binary semaphore can be viewed as a flag that is available, full, or unavailable, that is empty. When a task takes a binary semaphore with semtake, the outcome depends on whether the semaphore is available full or unavailable empty at the time of call, as shown in this figure. If the semaphore is available full, the semaphore becomes unavailable, that is empty, and the task continues executing immediately. If the semaphore is unavailable empty, the task is put on queue of blocked tasks and enters a state of pending on the availability of the semaphore. This is how we do the taking a semaphore. When a task gives a binary semaphore using semgive, the outcome also depends on whether the semaphore is available, full, or unavailable, that is empty, at the time of the call as shown in this figure. If the semaphore is already available, full, giving the semaphore has no effect at all. If semaphore is unavailable, that is empty, and no task is waiting to take it, then the semaphore becomes available, that is full. If the semaphore is unavailable, empty, and one or more tasks are pending on its availability, then the first task in the queue of blocked task is unblocked and the semaphore is left unavailable. That means it will become empty. Only the first you can see the difference, like semaphore available, yes or no. After that, we will check for task pended for giving it. This is what just we discussed. So mutual exclusion, binary semaphore interlock access to a shared resource efficiently. Unlike disabling interrupts or preemptive locks, binary semaphore limits the scope of the mutual exclusion to only the associated resource. In this technique, a semaphore is created to guard the resource. Initially, the semaphore is available full. You can check with this code. When a task wants to access the resource, it must first take that semaphore. As long as the task keeps the semaphore, all other tasks seeking access to the resource are blocked from execution. When the task is finished with the resource, it gives back the semaphore, allowing another task to be used. This we already discussed in our previous video called tasks, where we remember that all access to a resource requiring mutual exclusion are bracketed with semtake and semgive. We have a critical region in between, only accessed by a single task at a time. When used for task synchronization, a semaphore can represent a condition or event that a task is waiting for. Initially, the semaphore is unavailable. A task or ISR signals that the occurrence of event by giving the semaphore. Another task waits for the semaphore by calling semtake. The wait task blocks until the event occurs and the semaphore are given. Note the difference in sequence between semaphores used for mutual exclusion and those used for synchronization. For mutual exclusion, the semaphore is initially full and each task first takes and then gives back the semaphore. For synchronization, the semaphore is initially empty and one task waits to take the semaphore given by the other task. Just see this example. If it is not visible, just a moment. You can see in this example. Sorry for the poor quality. This example. So init routine creates the binary semaphore, attaches an ISR to an event and spawns a task to process the event. The routine tasks one routine until, don't worry, I will paste this thing in the paste the code in the description. You can zoom in and check through. So the routine task 1 runs until it called SEMTake. It remains blocked at the point until an event causes the ISR to call SEMGIVE. When the ISR completes, task 1 executes to process the event. There is an advantage of handling event processing within the context of a dedicated task. Less processing takes place at interrupt level, thereby reducing interrupt latency. This model of event processing is recommended for the real-time applications. Broadcast synchronization allows all processes that are blocked on the same semaphore to be unblocked automatically. Correct application behavior often requires a set of tasks to process an event before any task of the set has the opportunity to process further events. The routine SEMFlush addresses this class of synchronization problem by unblocking all the tasks pended on a semaphore. So don't worry if it is not visible, I will post it in the description. You can check in the description below. So next is mutual exclusion. Mutual exclusion is a specialized binary semaphore designed to address issues inherent in mutual exclusion, including priority inversion, deletion safety, and recursive access to the resources. So the fundamental behavior of the mutual exclusion semaphore is identical to the binary semaphore with the following exceptions. It can be used only for mutual exclusion. It can be given only by the task that took it. It cannot be given from an ISR. So this is very important. It cannot be given from an ISR. The SEMFlush operation is illegal in mutual exclusion. So there arises a problem called priority inversion. Priority inversion arises when a higher priority task is forced to wait an indefinite period of time for a lower priority task to complete. Consider this scenario in this figure. So T1, T2 and T3 are tasks of high, medium and low priority respectively. T3 has acquired some resource by taking its associated binary guard semaphore. When T1 preempts T3 and contends for the resource by taking the same semaphore, it becomes blocked. If we could be assured that T1 would be blocked no longer than the time it normally takes T3 to finish with the resource, there would be no problem because the resource cannot be preempted. However, the low priority task is vulnerable to preemption by medium priority task like T2, which could inhibit T3 from relinquishing the resource. The condition could persist, blocking T1 for an indefinite period of time. So instead of task 1, task 2, task 3, I am just using T1, T2, T3. The mutual exclusion semaphore has the option SEM inversion safe, SEM underscore inversion underscore SAFE, all in capital letters, which enables a priority inheritance algorithm. So priority inheritance algorithms assures that the task that owns a resource executes at the priority of the highest priority task blocked on that resource. Once the task priority has been elevated, it remains at the higher level until all mutual exclusion semaphores that the task owns are released. Then the task returns to its normal or standard priority. Hence, the inheriting task is protected from the preemption by any intermediate priority tasks. This option must be used in conjunction with the priority queue SEM underscore queue underscore priority. In this figure, you can see priority inheritance solves the problem of the priority inversion by elevating the priority of task 3, okay, T3, to the priority of T1 during the T1 is blocked on the semaphore. This protects T3 and indirectly T1 from preemption by T2. So, for example, if I have a SEM ID equal to SEM capital M create, SEM Q priority, or with SEM inversion safe semicolon, then it will definitely solve the priority inversion by inheriting. So we will discuss about this in a separate video, much more complications while we are doing the program. So let's talk about deletion safety. Uh, Deletion safety. Another problem of mutual exclusion includes task deletion within a critical region guarded by the semaphore. It is often desirable to protect the executing task from the unexpected deletion. Deleting a task executing in a critical region can be catastrophic. The resource might be left in a corrupted state and the semaphore guarding the resource left unavailable, effectively preventing all access to the resource. The primitive task safe method, if you remember, and task unsafe method provide one solution to the task deletion, which we discussed in our previous video. No? However, the mutual exclusion semaphore offers the option sem underscore delete underscore safe, which enables an implicit task safe with each sem take and a task unsafe with each sem give. In this way, a task can be protected from deletion when it has the semaphore. This option is more efficient than the preemptive task safe and task unsafe. As a resulting code requires fewer entrances to the kernel, that is sem id is equal to sem m create sem underscore q underscore FIFO or sem underscore delete underscore safe, close the brackets and semicolon, will do the deletion safety. So recursive resource access, mutual exclusion semaphores can be taken recursively. This means that the semaphore can be taken more than once by a task that owns it before finally being released. So we will discuss this with an example in a special video which will be made in this series. So please kindly subscribe and you will get the notifications to when you see in the program. Then you will understand how we can recursive use of a mutual exclusion semaphore. We will see with a real-time program and to the hardware if possible in the upcoming video. Let's move on to the counting semaphores, the final one which we discussed. The counting semaphores are another means to implement the task synchronization and mutual exclusion, which we discussed in the starting of this video. This counting semaphore works like the binary semaphore, except that it keeps track of the number of times a semaphore is given. Every time a semaphore is given, the count is incremented. Every time a semaphore is taken, the count is decremented. When the count reaches 0, a task that tries to take the semaphore is blocked. As with the binary semaphores, if a semaphore is given and a task is blocked, if it becomes unblocked. However, unlike the binary semaphores, it is if a semaphore is given and no tasks are blocked, then the count is incremented. This means that a semaphore that is given twice can be taken twice without blocking. So in this table shows an example time sequence of tasking and giving a counting semaphore that was initialized to a count of 3. So counting semaphores are useful for guarding multiple copies of resources. For example, the use of 5 tape drives might be coordinated using a counting semaphore with an initial count of 5, or ring buffer with 256 entries might be implemented using a counting semaphore with the initial count of 256. The initial count is specified as an argument to the sem c create routine, which we discussed in the first table. Okay, so there are special semaphore options available. The uniform wind semaphore interface includes 2 special options. One is timeouts semaphore. Wind semaphore includes the ability to timeout from the pended state. This is controlled by a parameter to semtake that specifies the amount of time in ticks that the task is willing to wait in the pended state. If the task succeeds in taking the semaphore within the allotted time, semtake returns OK, capital O, capital K. The error NO set when Semtech returns error ERROR, all in capitals, due to timing out before successfully taking the semaphore depends upon the timeout value passed. So a Semtech with no wait, which means do not wait at all, sets error number to S underscore obj lib underscore obj underscore unavailable. A Semtech with a positive timeout value returns S underscore obj lib underscore obj underscore timeout. The timeout value of wait forever, that is -1, means wait indefinitely. So we just discussed a special semaphore option called timeouts. Then you have queues. So wind semaphores include the ability to select the queuing mechanism employed for tasks blocked on a semaphore. They can be queued based on either of the two criteria FIFO, that is first in first out, or priority order. So I can show you the figure. We will discuss this later in the later videos exclusively when we are discussing about recursive and special semaphore options available. We'll make a separate video for that. Priority ordering better preserves the intended priority structure of the system at the expense of some overhead in Semtech in sorting the task by priority. A FIFO queue requires no priority sorting overhead and leads to constant time performance. The selection of the queue type is specified during the semaphore creation with SemB create, SemM create, or SemC create. Semaphores using the priority inheritance option sem underscore inversion underscore save must select priority order queuing. So in this tutorial we went through semaphores, binary semaphores, and taking a semaphore and giving a semaphore, and then we went through the mutual exclusions, how to write a small mutual exclusion, and we went through the code, though it is not visible properly. I will add it in the description, please be patient. And then we went through deletion safety of the safety after we discussed the priority inversion and the technique to reverse the priority inversion, or to overcome the priority inversion, called priority inheritance. And that's not the end. I just gave an example of it. Okay, then we had a glimpse of recursive resource access, and then we entered into the counting semaphores, and we just saw in this particular table we just saw counting semaphores with semaphore count after call and resulting behavior, and then we discussed in a special semaphore options called timeouts and queues. So for timeouts and queues and recursive recursive use of mutual exclusion semaphore will be discussed in a special video with a live example. As we have at the end, we will be going through all the program in a live hardware. At the time we will be discussing it. Thank you for your time. Please kindly subscribe to our channel, visit, share, and kindly support us for more videos. Thank you.